Hi everyone and welcome to Module 10. In this module we're going to talk about simple and compound beats, so more about rhythm. So after watching this video you'll be able to understand the difference between simple and compound beats, recognize the parts of a time signature, and identify simple and compound time signatures. Okay, let's talk about the division of the beat. Division of the beat refers to the way that the beat is consistently broken into equal parts throughout the music. Okay, and so you might call the subdivision, but we're going to call it division of the beat. So for simple beats, the first kind of beat, beats are divided into two equal parts. Okay, so you might have one beat, and if it consistently feels like the beat sounds like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So each beat is consistently divided into two parts, and we're calling them 1 and 2 and, like that. Then that's what's called a simple beat. Okay, so simple just means that the beat is consistently divided into two equal parts. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay? The other kind of beat is called a compound beat. And compound beats are divided into three equal parts. So 1 and 2 and like that. 1 and 2 and ta 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 ta. It's more of a bouncy kind of feel. Almost like if you know what a triplet is a compound division of a beat. Okay? And a simple beat, right, a simple division of a beat is more like a duple. Right? So simple is dividing the beat into two parts. Compound is dividing the beat into three parts. All right. And so this over here, the simple beats I ended up with over here, right? These are called, since there are three of them in a measure, we call it a triple meter. And since each beat is divided into two equal parts, we call it a simple meter. So altogether, this would be a simple triple meter. So simple just means beats are divided into two parts. Triple just means that there are three beats per measure. Okay. Over here, there are two beats, and each beat is divided into three equal parts, so we call this a compound duple meter. Okay. So that's the difference between a simple beat and a compound beat. Time signatures are symbols that tell the musician a lot of information about the rhythm of a piece of music. Okay, such as how many beats are in each measure, what note value gets the beat, and if the beat is simple or compound. That's all contained within the time signature. And the time signature is usually, I think it's to the left of the key signature, right of the key signature. Yeah, it's always at the beginning of the music. Okay, simple time signatures. So these are time signatures that are used to indicate that something is in a simple beat, right? A simple meter, which means that the beats are divided into two equal parts. And so the simple time signatures can tell you the beat and the meter type, the beat note, and the division of the beat. So here's an example of a simple time signature, 2/4. The top number of a simple time signature is on the top, right? It's 2. And the bottom number is a 4 there. And so the top number tells you the beats in the measure. So this time signature is telling you that there are 2 beats per measure. And so we know just from this that since it's a simple time signature and it has 2 beats, that this is a simple duple meter. The bottom number tells you what kind of symbol gets the beat, right? So how is the beat written in the music? So if it's a 4, that means that the note used to represent the beat is a quarter note. And since you know that it's a simple meter, the divisions of the beat are represented as eighth notes, because if you take a quarter note and you divide it into two equal parts, you end up with 2 eighth notes. Okay, so just from seeing that this is 2/4, we know that it is simple duple. Okay, we know that the beat is represented by a quarter note, and we know that the division of the beat is represented by eighth notes, because that's half of a quarter note. Here's another example, 3/4. So the top number is a 3, the bottom number is a 4. And we know it's a simple time signature. So this is a simple triple time signature. Again, since the bottom number is 4, that means that the beat is represented by a quarter note. and the division of the beat is still an eighth note. All right, simple quadruple, right? This could be a lot of different things. And so you can figure out some possible ones based on some given information. So if we had to figure out what the time signature is for a meter that is simple quadruple, right, which means there are 4 beats per measure, and the beat note is represented by an eighth note, it would be that signature right there. So the top number is 4, which means quadruple. The bottom number is 8, which means that the beat is represented by an eighth note. And then you would know that the division of the beat is 2 16th notes. All right, you can also figure out what the time signature would be if you're given these 2 pieces of information. So if the division of the beat is quarter notes, and we're trying to make this a simple triple meter, right? You'd add the 2 divisions of the beat together. So quarter plus quarter equals half. So the beat is represented by a half note, which means that the bottom number of the time signature is a 2. And since we want a triple meter, the top number of the time signature would be a 3. Okay? So to sum this all up, and those are only some of the possible time signatures. To sum it all up, for a simple time signature, which is what all of these are, the top number tells you the beats in the measure, and the bottom number tells you the symbol that's used to represent the beat. And from that symbol, right, from that time signature, you can figure out all the other information listed here. Okay, well, what about compound beats? Well, in our notation system, since it is not perfect in any conceivable way, and it's really old, we actually have a pretty big problem when it comes to writing compound beats. And that's because all the duration symbols that we use in our system divide into halves, right? So if you remember when we were making that whole list of duration symbols, everything divided into 2 parts. So our system is set up really well to represent simple beats. So like you could represent any simple beat you wanted to, right? If your beat is an eighth note and you want to divide that into 2 parts, your division is just 16th notes and it's fine, right? It's no problem. So the whole system is set up around simple beats, really. So for instance, if the beat was a quarter note, you would know that the division in a simple meter would be eighth notes, right? Well, for a compound beat, we need to divide that quarter note into 3 parts. And it can't just be 3 eighth notes because 3 eighth notes doesn't add up to a quarter note, right? Eighth plus eighth does not equal a quarter. So we have a math issue here where we don't really have a way to divide that quarter note into 3 equal parts unless we add a dot. So if we add a dot to a quarter note, right, that adds half of the value to the total length of that note. So now this dotted quarter note is actually equal to 3 eighth notes. And so we can use dotted notes to represent a compound beat because dotted notes do divide equally into 3 parts. So anytime you have the beat represented by a dotted note, you'll know that it's a compound beat. The problem happens, right, when we want to actually write the time signature for this. So let's say we want to write a duple compound meter, right? Well, we know the top number should be a 2 because duple means there are 2 beats per measure. But what number do we use to represent the beat, right? Do you use a 4 with a dot next to it? Maybe, right? Do you maybe say this is a 2 over 4.5 measure, right? I don't know. Maybe you could use a symbol like say this is a 2 over dotted quarter, right? So we're saying that there are 2 dotted quarters in the measure because that's what it would be. But we don't really have a clean way of representing that. So we don't really have a number, right, that looks nice that will actually work to represent exactly what's going on in a compound meter. So what we do is we change what these numbers mean. So here's an example of a compound time signature, 6/8. Now that does not mean that there are 6 beats in this measure, right? And it doesn't mean that the eighth note gets the beat. So for compound time signatures, the numbers are different than simple time signatures. And this is really confusing and hard to remember for some reason. But the bottom number will actually represent the symbol for the division of the beat. So the symbol we're using to break the beats up, okay? And so the symbol we'll use to represent the division of the beats is an eighth note. And the top number is the total number of divisions in the beat. Okay, so there are 6 total divisions of the beat in this measure. So this means that since our division of the beats are eighth notes, right, that's what they would look like, 3 eighth notes being together. If you add those all together, you get a dotted quarter, which represents the beat. And we know that if you take 3 eighth notes, right, and you add it together with another 3 eighth notes, you would get 6 eighth notes. So what I'm really doing is dividing the number of divisions into 2 parts to get 3, right? And that would give us our compound duple. So it's a little bit confusing, but you just have to remember that the bottom number doesn't mean the symbol that gets the beat anymore, and the top number doesn't mean the number of beats anymore. Instead, the bottom number means the symbol you're using to represent the division of the beat, and the top number means the number of divisions, right? So to figure out, how many beats are in a measure, you just divide the top number by 3, because everything is in a group of 3. So let's look at something like 12/8. Okay, so again, the division of the beat is being represented by eighth notes. If you add those all together, right, you get our note that represents the beat, which is a dotted quarter. And if you divide the top number 12 by 3, since these are all groups of 3, you're left with a compound quadruple meter, right? So this is just saying there are 4 beats, and each of those beats is a compound beat. All right? So if you're given some other information, like that the beat note is a dotted half note this time, and we're trying to end up with a compound triple meter, right? First, you want to figure out what the division of the beat is. Okay? So a dotted half note, if you divide that into 3 parts, you're left with quarter notes. So the division of the beat in this case is quarter notes. So the bottom number of our time signature will be 4. And we want it to be triple, right? So you take 3 times 3. So the time signature for this would be a 9/4 time signature, which is a compound triple time signature. All right, and let's look at this again with some other information. So if you know that the division of the beat is 3 16th notes, and you're trying to come up with a compound quadruple time signature, first you want to figure out what the beat note would be. And if you add 16th plus 16th plus 16th, the symbol you'd use to represent the beat would be a dotted eighth note. And if you took 3 times 4, again, you'd get 12, right? And the note that's used to represent the division of the beat is the 16th note. So the time signature for this would be a 12/16. Okay, so compound time signatures are super confusing. But they do make sense if you just remember that all of the beats are dotted, right? And so we don't have a number to represent a dotted note in our system. So instead, we have to notate something else. We have to indicate something else than time signature. And what we indicate is the division of the beat and the number of the divisions, okay? So whenever I ask you, and I will do this all the time, how many beats are in a 6/8 bar, right? The answer is never 6. The answer is always 2. If I ask you how many beats are in a bar of 9/4, right? The answer is not 9, it is 3. Because these are compound meters, and the beats are being divided into 3 parts. So we need to divide the top number by 3 to figure out how many actual beats are in the measure. Okay. Well, we will definitely be going over that more. And in the homework, you are asked to kind of fill out a little grid like this. And also, you're asked to do a really helpful exercise, which I remember from when I was your age too. It was really great. You're going to be converting a given melody to a different time signature. And so that will kind of help you figure out or practice how to make these groups and divisions and things like that. So that'll be really helpful. So we'll be going all over that all in the Zoom session coming up. All right, well, thanks for watching. If you do have any questions, you can save them for the Zoom session, or you can email me or post them to the discussion board. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.